Hello my fellow gamers, this is Macho here, and today I'm back with yet another video. What does this video entail, you might be asking? Well, as the title says, Macho can't communicate, stop talking. But that begs the question, why can't Macho stop talking? Is he perhaps like Shoko Komi? From the manga and anime series, Komi can't communicate. What does it entail? Well, you see, the protagonist is known as Shoko Komi, and she cannot communicate. Why can she not communicate? Well, you see, it's because she has a communication disorder. And speaking of communications, it reminds me of this old series of music by the producer named Ghost. What was Communications about? Well, you see, the actual series is discontinued. Yes, but when it comes to the series, there's only 4 songs released for it, and there was going to be 4 cases, each of which had 3 songs, but we only had 4 of them. That being Rotary Dial, Black and White, Housewife Radio, and Broadcast Illusion, not to be confused with Bicorn Illusion. But, what were these songs about, you might be thinking? Well, you see, in the first one, there is a mother who keeps trying to call her son, but he won't ever answer. And why won't he answer? Because he's dead. He's no longer with us. But now, what is the second song, Black and White, about? Well, you see, that is with the son named Henry. What happened to Henry? Well, much like his mother, his wife was possessive. She started going crazy, so he left her a letter on his typewriter. And what happens in the song? He died. But why did he die? Well, you see, the reason why he died is because his wife killed him. But why did she kill him? It's because she's crazy. Or specifically, because she started to hear colors on the radio. And that ties into the third song, Housewife Radio, featuring the wife. Well, I'm pretty sure her name was Nancy. It's either she was Nancy, or the mom was Nancy. I don't remember. I'd have to probably look into the lore and give the lore a chance. But yes, and so that was Housewife Radio. She could see colors. And what happened whenever her husband Henry left her a letter telling her he was leaving? Why, she killed him. She went back in time to his song and killed him. And now that brings on the last song that was ever released for Communications. There are 2 versions of it, one of which is no longer canon. Well, at first called Color Bars, it was later remade again into Broadcast Illusion. And what is Broadcast Illusion about? Well, you see, the singer, according to the lore, his name is Kenneth, but the actual Vocaloid for him is Fukase, named after a real person. But that is beside the point. What happens in Broadcast Illusion? Well, you see, Kenneth got brainwashed by his own technology, and so he stands in front of a ton of TVs and then sings a song that causes an entire town of people to want to kill themselves. And what really especially happened? He ended up hacking into he ended up hacking into nearly every TV in the nation, trying to get everyone to kill themselves. And once everything was all over, and it went on for hours, mind you, in the lore. Well, what happened afterwards? Once people were coming, he killed himself. And yet we will never know what truly happened. There is still lore out there of the last cases, a release of the case 2. But for now, there is no songs. There will never be any songs, non-official by Ghost. Ooh. But speaking of Ghost, It reminds me of the Bikini Bottom Ghost from SpongeBob. More specifically, whenever SpongeBob and Patrick got invisible spray. And why did they get invisible spray? Well, you see, they were at the prank store, and so they got invisible spray. They started getting carried away and started shooting each other until they were completely invisible. So what did they do? They decided to scare the entire town of Bikini Bottom into thinking that they're ghosts. It's funny, yes? Yes. Well, speaking of funny, you think this is funny? Yeah. But speaking of Joker Man, or Jokers in general, it reminds me of this particular clown from this hit game Darkest Dungeon. Specifically, one of the classes is called the Jester, and he is one funny man. But be very careful, because he's a killer. What does he carry? He carries none other than a sickle, a lute, and a dirk knife. Arguably is probably one of my favorite characters in that game, other than the Flagellant and the Plague Doctor. But speaking of Plague Doctors, I must say, they have very cool looking outfits, especially with their blighted beak. And speaking of blighted beaks, it reminds me of this very particular cosmetic in Team Fortress 2 on my favorite class, the Medic. Yes, but be very careful if you are wearing a blighted beak and a very particular hat, because if you make all those pink, people might think that you, and I mean you, are a Medic girlfriend, and you're probably there to support your soldier boyfriend by always having your Medigun up his butt. Yes, but there is more to being a Medic girlfriend. You will not heal anyone else, especially scouts, but medics don't heal scouts. Yes, that may sound like a load of bull, but there's also more to just scouts. Nobody likes a scout. Not even his own dad likes him. And who is his dad? Why, his dad is the spy. And you know what they say about spies? Spies serve my century. Yes, speaking of centuries, what if we had more than just the century and the mini-century? If there is a mini-century, does that mean there's a mega-century? Even bigger than the regular century? What would this mega-century even entail? Could it possibly be a level 5? If you had a mega-century, could you theoretically not build a dispenser or teleporters? A mystery. Yes. Speaking of mysteries, there is Mystery Incorporated with Scooby-Doo. What about Scooby-Doo? Well, you see, with Scooby-Doo, there is the Scooby-Goo. Not that kind of Scooby-Goo. Disgusting. But the other kind of, looking real gooey. Yes, the kind of real gooey. It makes you think of White Snake. And who is White Snake? Why, White Snake, or just White Snake? He is the Stan in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. But speaking of JoJo, reminds me of the last time I've done one of these talking videos. How did I somehow manage to always loop everything back to JoJo? Well, because you see, everything is a JoJo reference. For all you know, you could be a JoJo reference. Breathing is a JoJo reference. This bed could very much be a JoJo reference. Most notably, Part 8 of JoJo. Yes, especially with the California King Bed fight. Yes, we don't talk about what possibly happened to Josuke during that fight. There's a cat in the hallway. Speaking of cats, they dominate the internet. But you know who else really likes cats? Why, Komi Shoko. And what does Komi Shoko do? Or should I say, what can she not do? Communicate. Just like how I started off this video, and kinda, especially even in the same way the last video. We started with Komi, and then we end with Komi. That is how Macho can't communicate. Or most notably, you can't stop talking. Thank you. And it's good to be back on YouTube. Perhaps maybe in the future I'll start uploading videos until I can get another place to live, and then I can go back to my regular content. See you all next time. This is Macho Skater. Sign out till next time.